The biggest question is this: who gets to Trunks first in this series? And if you're a keen subscriber of this channel, I think you know where this is going to go. Hey guys, MasakoX here. I make no bones about it. Just the very thought of episode 67 of Dragon Ball Super is enough to get me stewing incessantly with fury and ire. Everything before then had been tied up reasonably neatly for Super, with Trunks seemingly getting the win over merged Zamasu, and even though the circumstances were a little unusual, and we all asked how was Trunks able to effectively do a Genki Dama without never being shown to have learnt it, my headcanon personally is that he got taught it by Goku in the other world, or at least he saw it in action, or at least was shown how it works casually. But that's not the worst of things though. That all got undone, and with a mixture of poor drawing quality and sudden about faces to boot. Trunks and Mai were the only survivors of that reality, while Zeno gets off scot-free and ends up getting a new home, whereas those two, they have to lump being doppelgangers in another dimension. Great. But, as Krillin might say, not today! Because we are here to change that, whilst also reluctantly keeping episode 67 in place, because I have to be somewhat mature about this. So, today, instead of Trunks and Mai complying with Whis' idea, we ask what might happen if they chose to stay in the past. Now, Dragon Star Productions and Goku T23 have answered this question before, so do check out their interpretations as well. I always say that everybody has their own unique spin on an idea, so if you want to have a go at one of my previously mooted ideas, then give it a try and see what you come up with. How would you make Raditz a good guy, for example? Anyway, in this reality, Whis' offer of going to an alternate reality to live with another version of themselves is not accepted, and instead, Trunks decides to push back and says that he will settle down here, in the only other place he can call home. Even though it's not his universe or even his own reality, at least he knows the people here, as well as Mai and himself being the only versions here. And yes, I know, there are the child versions here, the present ones, but they have their own personalities at least, they differ enough. Whis doesn't really care about where he is, so long as he doesn't cause any more trouble, especially with his time machine. He wouldn't want the proper temporal authorities to get wind of all of this. In the last part, Trunks and Mai got settled into their new lives, with present Bulma getting very excited to see her future son here to stay, and perhaps be a good role model for her Trunks. He was getting very obnoxious with only having first world problems, and them being at the forefront as well. I'm sure that this future Trunks could easily set him straight in time, more like scare straight, but first, he has something he wishes to do, and that is to get to know this world's Gohan more. He had seen his master from another reality become quite pedestrian and eschewing the role of Earth's defender. He hadn't really had any focus, but in this exchange, Gohan can see that Trunks really needs some focus, something to really kind of take his mind off stuff, and he can also see the significance in his request. It's some part of the future he can reclaim in some way, Trunks being able to train with Gohan. That being said, Trunks here is in the driver's seat this time. The two Mais are reconnecting too, but the younger Mai is still a little bratty, and that is probably down to her youthification. It must have modified something in her mature brain, but with the older Mai here, she can at least help the child come to terms with this, but we must continue the story. There has been some time since we last touched base. In said time, Trunks and Mai have become very much part of the furniture, and everybody is happy to see them around. They spend most of their time at Capture Corp, as they have a home on the main campus, away from the main household, so they can have some alone time. Bulma was very keen to have them be as comfortable as possible with no expense spared. They had been through a lot in the future, so they deserved the finest that money could buy. Trunks is understandably grateful for his alternate mother's support, but he was still a very humble and quite frugal individual. Just so long as we have the basics, we'll be fine. This was a weird concept for the engineer, but she did accept her son's wishes. But she was still confused why he wouldn't want to lap up the chance for having riches after having to live in squalor for most of his life. Mai was very proud of her partner's decision. It goes to show that Trunks, he's a keeper. In the end, Bulma had more things to focus on. The fact that she was expectant with their second child. And this affected Vegeta and Trunks greatly. Why? Well, Future Trunks never got the chance to be a big brother in his timeline. Yeah, he had people that he looked up to, like a big brother, but it wasn't that direct feel. It was something that he secretly wanted, to have someone to guide and look up to with a familial connection. Now he not only had present Trunks, but now possibly a new child. Mai was excited at the news too, and this was the thing that got her and her younger self to connect properly. They could put their differences aside and have a consensus. They were both thrilled and were enthusiastically planning everything for the babe's arrival. Vegeta couldn't comprehend how they were so calm and why they cared. Well, there was even more important stuff to come. But first, Gohan and Trunks had gotten to train quite a bit, in between Gohan's conferences and work. At first, things were a little rough. Trunks really wanted to help Gohan's work-life balance be sorted out because he could see that Gohan's power had decreased noticeably since the times of the Cell games. Gohan had been very reluctant to realize this, and even though he had originally asked Trunks to train him, his mindset had still not fully gotten behind this new modus operandi. Things came to a head one day when they were sparring, and Gohan was defeated. He took out his anger on a nearby 100-foot boulder, which crumbled to dust. "What's up, Gohan? You did really well today." Gohan could see through his platitude. "You know it. I know it. I'm not cut out for this anymore. I want to protect this world, but I cannot do that whilst providing for my family as well." "You can do this, Gohan! You defeated Cell!" "That was a long time ago, Trunks. I had no priorities back then. Now, though, I got a kid and a family to provide for. I can't let Pan and Videl down. What would they think of me?"
"They would think you a coward."
Gohan and Trunks turned to see Vegeta, looking very haggard but also stern. It looked like he hadn't slept in days, and he had some stubble, but he had a point to prove seemingly.
"I've heard enough of your jabbering, Gohan. It seems to me that you have no faith in your woman."
"What? Of course I do. I love her and my daughter more than anything."
"Is that so? Then allow her to make her own decisions instead of doing everything for her."
Gohan's left dumbstruck. Who is Vegeta to tell him what to do in such matters? "You don't provide for Bulma. What do you do for her?" Vegeta looks nettled and powers up to Super Saiyan Blue.
"Ensure that she lives, that my family lives."
He powers back down again.
"You think I'm not grateful for her assistance in that endeavor? There is not a day that goes by where I am not thankful for her hard work, as well as her resourcefulness."
Well, maybe you should tell her that sometime.
"You're lucky that we're on the same side, kid. Otherwise, I would have to teach you a lesson for your insolence. I thought you were above such tripe."
The conversation goes on for a little while longer, to where Gohan starts to realize that he has put too much on his own shoulders. After all, marriage is meant to be a team effort. Let Videl do what she wants to do so as to ensure everything works well and that everyone is happy, including Pan. From there, Gohan is starting to get it, and training starts to improve between him and Trunks. As for Vegeta, he may seem settled on the surface, but deep down, he's terrified himself at Bulla's arrival. With Bulma getting rounder and Bulla's birth getting closer, there's another thing we need to discuss: the Tournament of Power. Like in the original, Goku reminds the two Zenos of their tournament idea, and Goku is then charged with creating a team for the contest. When Goku arrives back on Earth, he still gets in touch with Gohan around this time, but at the moment, Trunks is there too, as they were currently training in a specially created space on Gohan's estate, where damage to it wouldn't really cost an arm and a leg to fix. Goku then breaks the news to them, and his son is horrified like before, but Trunks is seething.
"Is that monster still not satisfied?"
Trunks bursts into his rage form out of nowhere, causing the ground around them to rumble. Goku and Gohan are left stuck to the spot in fear at Trunks' anger. The time traveler gives Goku the evils, them not knowing what's gone into him.
"Goku, I refuse to help."
"But Trunks, you and I have gotten so much stronger lately. We could be really useful here."
"You don't get it." "Nobody does. Zeno destroyed everything I held dear, without a second thought. Black may have ravaged it beyond recognition, but at least I had somewhere to call home. As far as I'm concerned, Zeno, he is far worse than Black."
This left the group in silence. Trunks had a point, sure, but still. Goku breaks the silence. But we need you. If you don't help, Universe 7 may lose and will be erased. I don't say this lightly, Trunks, but I need you." Trunks is left unfazed, his father's stubbornness very prominent right now.
"You got yourself into this, Goku. You can get yourself out."
Trunks flies off, still in Super Saiyan 2, without saying another word. All Goku and Gohan can do right now is stew on the mood before trying to come to terms with the task at hand. Trunks returns to Capsule Corp and tells Mai what happened. She too is left fuming. How could Goku be so reckless? Doesn't he know the danger he's put us all in?
How would he? He's never had to deal with the daily struggle of staying alive. To wake up every single morning and find out who died in the night like it was routine? He knows nothing.
Mai then mentions something that is quite important to remember. Will Lord Beerus accept your refusal?
Probably not, but I don't care. I will not become that freak's plaything. He wants entertainment? He can find it elsewhere.
Mai is getting a little scared right now. This is very out of character for Trunks. He's usually very law-abiding, very conforming, lawful good almost, but here, he's just a wild animal. I mean, sure, he's very impressive to look at, and he's been very alpha, but it's very strange. All she can do right now is to try and soothe him. I'm right behind you, Trunks. Whatever you choose to do, I got your back. They embrace and cry it out for a while. The exhibition match goes on like before, and we get to see some of the first team discussions at Capture Corp with Beerus and Whis present. They are feasting on some cuisine or other on display, with Buller having successfully been born thanks to Whis earlier, and Trunks fortunately being occupied with caring for the babe whilst Bulma's getting some rest. As that was going on, Goku was talking about options for more members, but then Beerus casually points out a flaw.
Say, you're forgetting someone. That time-traveling rapscallion. Trunks, was it? Why isn't he on the list yet?
This makes Gohan and Goku quake with worry.
Well, surely he's just as powerful as you, Gohan. Why isn't he here to help us in our decisions?
Well, you see, Lord Beerus, he thought that... Well...
Come on then, spit it out! He thought what?
Whis looks curious to the answer as well. Gohan's spluttering out a response, and Goku's looking nervous. Then, a voice from behind pipes up.
I thought this was madness!
The group turned to see Trunks carrying a sleeping Buller in his arms.
Madness, you say? You mean you decided not to take part? That's right. I will never bend the knee to that maniac you call a king!
Oh my, this one's feisty. I like it. Beerus gets up and looks darkly at the time traveler.
Say that again. Right up close, so I can hear you properly.
Whis then ceases his banter and is looking concerned. Lord Beerus, surely you're acting a little rash here.
Do not interrupt, Whis. I think I need to make these mortals understand the gravitas of the situation. In a language they can understand.
Beerus places his hand in front of Trunks' face, still carrying Buller, I remind you, and the man is unsure as to what's about to happen, but Goku knows, and he screams out of anger and fear.
Hakai!
In an instant, time stands still, like the wheels of existence stopped turning. Nobody spoke, nobody took a breath, nothing happened. And then, time resumed. Trunks was gone. Goku and Gohan were left horror-struck. In their eyes, Trunks had been erased by Beerus. Gohan was sparking with fury, and Goku was left feeling both livid and guilty. He had been responsible for this. But where's Vegeta? Why hadn't he been here to stop Beerus? The answer came shortly afterwards by Beerus being slapped to the floor. A short, pink-skinned girl was standing over him looking angrily at him, with Trunks right behind her looking confused himself.
Oh no you don't! You will not be destroying my property, cat!
I should have known you'd show up.
Whis, who had his eyes closed out of foreboding, opened them to see the girl as well. Oh, the Supreme Kai of Time! What a surprise! Goku, Gohan, and Trunks mutter, Supreme Kai of Time? Said Kai is looking daggers at Beerus.
Look what you made me do! I had to break most of my own principles to stop you in your rash actions! You're more trouble than you're worth!
She pulls a raspberry at him out of annoyance. Beerus grumbles some more.
Say your piece, Chronoa. You always have something to say.
That's Supreme Kai of Time to you!
Chronoa turns to Trunks.
Apologies for the sudden introduction, mortal. I am the Supreme Kai of Time. I just saved your life, but you're in big trouble.
And that's where we're going to be leaving things for right now. So what do you guys think? What does Chronoa have in store for Trunks in this timeline? What are the gang going to do with Trunks seemingly not playing ball for the Tournament of Power? Leave a comment below and let's get this discussion going. And I shall see you in the next video. Catch you later!